Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Dennis from Crypto Planet, also the Crypto Jew on Twitter, and today we're going to be doing a market analysis of XTZ, which is the ticker for Tezos, and we're going to be doing this against the US dollar. So what I have in front of us right now is the weekly chart for XTZ, and I'm just going to set up some supports and resistances for it right now. So here are the most important support and resistance zones that I believe are the most important that I can see on this chart right here. And I'm also going to point out a couple of patterns that I see as well, a couple of bullish patterns that I see. And also, we're also right on this support right here. So let's look at the daily chart. So we have gotten right above this support. We closed above it, but we have made our way back down. But it seems like there's a bit of indecision because we're not really breaking above it in a very strong way. And this pattern over here looks like it's possibly a rising wedge. I wouldn't really guarantee that. It doesn't really look like the typical rising wedge, but it's definitely possible. If this support does not hold, that would signal to me that we definitely need to retrace. So I would like to see this hold for further bullish confirmation, but until then, I will not be making any sort of trade with XTZ, but let me show you guys some other things that I see on the chart as well. So very clearly, we can see that there is a bull flag over here, possibly a bull flag. It seems likely that it has been completed and confirmed as we broke out of here. That's a very bullish sign to me. The only thing that would really confirm this for me is if I was to see a breakout above this zone right here. That would signify to me that we're not going to retest this support over here on the bull flag, and that would be a very bullish sign. Just going to set it up in a certain way. Just going to set it up to look like this. That way I remember that it's I'm keeping this separate from the other resistances that I have on the chart. Another very bullish pattern that I can find, let me remove this. Before I remove that, I just want to say that if we do get past this zone, I would say that we can definitely reach this upper resistance over here. And I would say from where we are now, if this support holds, that would be a 232% profit. So I'm going to set a target right up here. And then we're going to move on to the next pattern. So we seem to have an inverse head and shoulders pattern that has formed over here. It's a bit sideways, but nevertheless, it is very possible that this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. For double confirmation of the bull flag and the inverse head and shoulders pattern, I would, of course, recommend to wait until we have a breach above this zone. And as you can see, this resistance zone that happens to be at the top of the bull flag also happens to be at the top of where the right shoulder begins. So having a break above that signifies a strong break of resistance to me, in my opinion. And that signifies that we could see pretty great moves from there. And this still gives us the same target, but I definitely believe that we could also hit this upper area over here, the $10.53 zone in the long term. I would say sometime in 2020 we would likely be hitting this zone, and once we reach that, it's all new horizons. We can go much further from that zone. So now I'm going to do some Elliott wave analysis on this as well. So I highlighted what I believe is a possible first wave in a pattern, and I'm also going to mark the ABC correction that I see here as well. Very typical for an ABC correction to look like this. You have the A over here, you have the B over here, and then you have the C. So I see that as being very possible, and I'm also going to go on a similar time frame and try and find the subwaves here as well. So if you guys took our online trading course, you would have learned a lot about Elliott wave, and just by looking at this chart, you'd be able to spot where the waves are pretty easily. It just comes to you naturally after you learn a lot about it. But I'm just going to mark them off for you guys. Maybe you guys learned a bit about Elliott wave, and you guys will be able to spot them. So over here, I believe we have our first wave. Once you get past this resistance over here, it flies into the third wave, which could be somewhere around here, I'd say, or even over here is possible. So I would say we have the completion here, then you have an ABC in this zone. That's what that looks like to me. Then you have the fourth wave and then the fifth wave. You guys may not really understand what I'm talking about with this unless you've learned about Elliott wave. If you've taken our course, you guys want to learn a lot about Elliott wave and Fibonacci and how they can be used together to better your trading, we have a fantastic explanation of this in our course, and we go into detail about much more as well. So definitely check that out. That's cryptoplanet.cash. The link is down below. Let's look more into this now. Now, if we want to check targets for where this could potentially go, if this is a first wave, we would do a Fibonacci extension. But one thing I just remembered to say is that for a triple confirmation of the Elliott wave, the inverse head and shoulders, and the bull flag, we would see a breach above this zone. Because of the way the Elliott wave works, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a free lesson here. The third wave is the largest wave, but it commences once you have a breach past the first wave. So if we were trading a wave that looked like this and we're in the second wave, a move past this zone would confirm that we're moving into a third wave, which would lead to a very large move upwards, which could easily bring us to this zone or the higher zone that we had targeted, which is around $10. So I'm going to do a trend-based Fib extension, and we're going to look at what targets we can possibly look to achieve. So I've noticed a lot of my trading with crypto. These Elliott waves will not always respect the trend-based Fib extension targets. That's because we're in a much smaller market with stocks. You won't really have many issues like this or with Forex trading. But because these markets have such small market caps, it's much easier for them to move, especially when you have institutions throwing money in when prices are so low. It just causes prices to skyrocket past areas that we would expect them to go to, mostly because of market orders. But usually I would target the 1618 or the 2618. 1618 is safest, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see this go way past these zones. So I'm just going to show you guys the other Fibonacci zones as well. And this 2618 comes very close to our zone of about $5 and change for our target. Then we also have these zones up here, which is the 4.236 and the 3618. So I'm just going to put a box there for those as well. These are definitely good profit-taking zones, all of these zones. But of course, you're not going to start selling until you see serious sell signals using your different indicators. I personally will be updating my group chat members on my Telegram chat about where I would be selling this, where I think it's a time to sell, where I see sell signals. And it could be at any of these zones, or it could be a zone in between or a zone above. There's always different areas that you could possibly take profit in. And only group chat members will be updated on that, and only people who are signed up on our website as well. So make sure you guys do that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis on Tezos. I hope you guys learned a lot about Elliott wave. Well, not a lot, but I hope you guys learned a little bit. And if you're looking to invest in Tezos, I hope that this was very informative. But of course, this is not meant to be financial advice. Please do your own research and look into projects before anything. You shouldn't just rely on charts, in my opinion. So take care, guys. And don't forget to subscribe.